It's the 2024 finale. It's Sunday, December 29, 2024. Thanks for being here. Welcome to the show. Early Happy New Year. Hope you had a nice Christmas. And let's get to that box office. As always, it's exciting, and it's exciting this weekend when you have new movies come in and do really, really well. I'll talk about the Pezzas and what I'm wearing here in a second. If you're watching on YouTube Live, thank you. As always, send in your questions and your comments. Yes, I've got Arthur Christmas on. Sony sent this to me back in 2011 when the movie came out, Sony Animation, and I've kept it ever since. Crystal Donald, happy 90th birthday, Donald Duck. That was a little Christmas gift. And an interesting character, Amy Rose from the Sonic universe. I won't say anything else if you haven't yet seen Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which is, as of now, your #1 movie yet again. $38 million Friday through Sunday. It's up to $137.6 for Paramount, the third biggest Paramount movie of the year. Currently behind Gladiator 2 and A Quiet Place Day 1. It will become #1 at some point soon. The interesting thing, though, about Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is that, yes, it's winning the 3-day again, but when it comes to the 5-day, looks like Mufasa is on top. But for the 3-day, Mufasa in second with 37.1 million. It's at 113.5 for Disney. Over this last week, basically since last Sunday, when Paramount initially overestimated Sonic greatly, and then Disney was looking at 35 for Mufasa, and the numbers, the gap between Sonic and Mufasa was shrinking. It became 62 to 35.4. And then you saw those during the week numbers when Mufasa beat Sonic a few of those days, including Christmas Day, by a good amount. So Mufasa comes back roaring. This is what I said a couple weeks ago. This is what I said. I said, watch out for Disney. Look at what just happened with Moana 2. And I said, this battle is going to be close. For many years, I was on the morning show, Australia's #1 morning show. Did a bunch of segments, I think 26, via satellite. And often when I would go on and review movies or preview movies, many times they would open two major, fully animated movies up against each other on the same day. I think Monsters University and Despicable Me 2 came out on the same day in Australia in 2013. And I always said to myself, that's insane. They would never do that here in North America, because everybody knows that these studios put years and years of time into these animated films. They want as much money as possible. Now, we have had back-to-back weeks. Look at Transformers 1 and Wild Robot. Look at some other ones, Trolls Band Together and Wish. But the same day, and now here we are with partially animated Sonic and photorealistic animated Mufasa. They opened on the same day, and it's working out well for both of them. Yes, Sonic is making more money, but Mufasa is there as well. Mufasa's not going to do the $543 million of what the 2019 Lion King did. But families are going to Mufasa. Older audiences are going to Mufasa, which is also what I expected. And it won Christmas Day. Disney was thrilled. So I think Disney's happy now, after a rough-ish first weekend, which is also what I said. I said, remember, if it's slow out of the gate for one or both of these, kids are out of school for 2 full weeks. They're going to make it 10 million plus a day in a lot of cases, and that's what's been happening. And so Disney's happy, I think. It made more money this Friday through Sunday than last Friday through Sunday. Sonic dropped from 62 down to 38, but still, it's doing well. And I think it will pass the 190 of Sonic 2. How much higher will it get? That will be interesting. This full week, a lot of kids have off of school. And then you've got Martin Luther King Jr. Day coming up in the middle of January. Paddington in Peru moved from the middle of January to have that Monday to February break to have that full week. You've got Dogman in between on Jan 31. So for the Martin Luther King Jr. weekend, you've got these two films along with Moana and Wicked still making lots of money for families to go to. Wicked this weekend in fourth with another 19.5 million. The sing-alongs opened for Christmas Day in some theaters. It's at 424.2 million. It's the third biggest Universal movie ever. Now you could throw E.T. into the equation as well, but Super Mario Brothers movie and the first Jurassic World are above Wicked. They're the only ones, which is amazing. I'll mention Moana 2 and then go back to the #3 movie. Moana 2 added $18.2 million. It's at 394.6. It is now one of the top 10 highest grossing animated movies in North America of all time. It has passed Spider-Verse, the second one, to do that, which is an amazing accomplishment for Disney. Number 3 this weekend, Nosferatu, with a 5-day open of $40 million, $40.3 million. That is a gigantic start for Focus Features. They are over the moon today with this $40 million for Nosferatu, $21.2 million of that coming in for Friday through Sunday to make it third for the weekend. That $40 million open, everyone is celebrating today. Does this help a possible last-minute surge to get Nosferatu in the Best Picture category? I think it might actually do that. It's got some technical nominations from Critics' Choice, but off of this $40 million, people are going to go, whoa. I think that was higher than a lot of people expected, and yeah, I didn't think it would do this well. I thought day one out of the gate, Christmas Day, the diehard fans of Robert Eggers and this genre would go, and they absolutely did, but to sustain that over the 5 days is pretty strong. So yes, I think there's a shot now that maybe Nosferatu, if there's enough love in the Academy, it could be a surprise to get in. But you have a film that deserves to be in Best Picture that also opened for Christmas, and that's A Complete Unknown. Timothée Chalamet as Bob Dylan, $11.6 million for the Friday through Sunday, and a 5-day start of $23.2 million. That's very respectable. One of the biggest weekends, if not the biggest weekend ever for Searchlight. I'd have to go back. There's a lot of award season movies over the years for Searchlight that had close to those kind of weekends. You'd have to go back and look at Shape of Water and Three Billboards and some of their other films a little bit more. But a $23.2 million 5-day is fantastic for A Complete Unknown. This is an excellent movie. It's already the 5th biggest Searchlight Pictures release of the past 6 years. And it's going to keep climbing and climbing to be number 1 on that list and maybe get into the all-time list for Searchlight. That would be big. This is a film I think that's going to continue to do well when the Oscar nominations come out. And this film is expected to be in for Timothée Chalamet, Edward Norton, picture. Maybe it's in director and some others. It deserves to be. So A Complete Unknown, which had a Christmas Day of $7.2 million. Counted a little bit of that from Christmas Eve, but still one of the biggest days ever for Searchlight. By the way, when it comes to Nosferatu, it's already the 2nd biggest Focus Features movie of the past 5 years, only behind the 2nd Downton Abbey movie. It's going to pass that in a day or two and climb up on that all-time Focus Features chart. I think it'll be on that top 10 pretty soon. If you're just joining us here on LCJ Live, we're talking Christmas, post-Christmas weekend box office and the 5-day results. A film that didn't do great, Baby Girl. A 3-day of $4.4 million, a 5-day of $7.2 million for A24. In a day or two, it'll be in their top 5 for the year, but not a great start for not a good film. Nicole Kidman is nominated for the Golden Globe for Actress in a Drama, but she is not Best Actress Critics' Choice nominated. The SAG nominations are on the way, along with the BAFTAs, and then the Oscar nominations on Jan 17. Does Nicole Kidman win the Golden Globe next Sunday without even being nominated for Critics' Choice? We'll have to see. But I think A24 has to be a little underwhelmed. But there are definitely some people who are like, I'm not going to see this because it is a very R-rated film and it's not a great movie either. I like a lot of Nicole Kidman's performances over the years. You look at Lion, you look at Destroyer, you look at Boy Erased. Being the Ricardos, I didn't care for as much as other people, but she's given a lot of good performances over the years. Of course, I love Bewitched, I love Moulin Rouge, but this one not one of her better films, and it's showing that audiences aren't really excited for it. If she gets a Best Actress Oscar nomination, does it make more money? Maybe a little bit, but out of the gate, not incredible for Baby Girl. That's in 7th this weekend. In 8th, Gladiator 2, $4.2 million. It's still doing well, 163.1 for Paramount. Number 9 is Homestead, which had a $3.2 million. It's at 12.9 for Angel Studios. It's now the 3rd biggest Angel Studios movie of all time. And if it makes more than 19.1, it will pass Cabrini to be number 2 all-time for Angel Studios, of course behind the blockbuster Sound of Freedom. And number 10 this weekend is The Fire Inside. I like this movie. I wish it made more money than this. $2 million for the 3-day, $4.3 million for the 5-day. It did all right on Christmas Day, then had a big drop the next day, and just $2 million for the weekend. I hope this does better. Could Brian Tyree Henry sneak into that supporting actor category as he did a few years ago for Causeway? He was really good in that. I liked his performance in Causeway a little more than Fire Inside, but he's good in this, along with Spirit Awards nominee Ryan Destiny. And it's got a unique second half. The first half is fine, but not really unique in terms of the sports drama genre. And then the second half is really interesting. So I hope you give it a chance. If you already saw A Complete Unknown, you need something else, go see The Fire Inside. It's worth your time. That's from Amazon MGM, and I hope it makes more money over the next couple weeks. But The Fire Inside did make more money this weekend than Kraven the Hunter, which is out of the top 10 after just 2 weeks, down to 1.7 this weekend. It's only made $21.4 million for Sony. What a disaster for just a dud of a film. Also at the box office, another $500,000-ish for Lord of the Rings, 8.6 million total. I wish it made more money than that. I think it's already on digital. Night Bitch is already on Hulu. Best Christmas pageant ever, even post-Christmas. Added about 300 grand. It's just under 40 million for Lionsgate, their biggest film of the year. We don't have the money on The Room Next Door, I don't believe, but the Friday was 15,000, so probably did about 45 to 50. The Brutalist in 7 theaters added 203,000. It's at 687 for A24 per screen average of $29,000. It'll go wide in January. Nickel Boys in 5 theaters is up to 215,000 total. September 5, also in just 5 theaters, it's up to 205,000 total. And the Christmas Day release of Better Man from Paramount in just 6 theaters only did a 5-day of $35,000. That's not exceptional. It goes wide Jan 10. I don't love the film, but I think Paramount thought it would do a little better than this. But I don't see it getting Best Picture nomination. Maybe visual effects. It's up for Critics' Choice for that. But Better Man is going to need to see if it can attract audiences when it goes wide in January, but not a great start for that in limited release. This Friday, there are no major new theatrical wide releases. Your big at-home release is Wallace & Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul on Netflix this Friday, Jan 3. I had a great time with this movie. I saw it back in October. I spoke with directors Nick Park and Merlin Crossingham, LCJ.podbean.com, animationscoop.com for that Q&A. You can also get some Q&As with the directors of Oscar shortlisted animated shorts. More of those on the way through Oscar nomination day, Jan 17. And 9.4 million people watched Vengeance Most Foul, the latest Wallace and Gromit, in the UK on BBC TV on Christmas Day. Big number for that. Highlights, wanted to know your thoughts on Sonic 3 since you mainly focused on Mufasa last week, says the Golden Oreos. All right, well, I'm trying to do a balance of the two, but my thoughts on Sonic 3 are that it's fun. I enjoyed it more than the first two. The visuals are cool. The action is good. Shadow, Keanu Reeves, of course. I also like the backstory of Shadow and the young girl. I think those scenes are really good. I think it gave Jeff Fowler, the director, an opportunity to explore a little more of his directing abilities and take some chances on scenes like that he hasn't been able to do either yet or in a while or with the other 2 Sonic movies. So I enjoyed a lot of Sonic 3. Is it relentless? Yes. It's a lot. It becomes a lot towards the end, but it's definitely the most confident of the 3 Sonic movies. And of course, we're now going to get Sonic 4 in just about 2.5 years-ish. Let's see. If you watched my latest 12 Days special video, 12 Days of Movies at Christmas, thank you. If you saw my Grinch tree, thank you. Had a lot of fun putting that together. Night Bitch, as I mentioned, is now on Hulu. The Golden Globes is next Sunday, January 5th. When we're back here next Sunday, I'll do Golden Globes predictions. We'll see if I make any changes to the early predictions I made from nomination day. Nikki Glaser hosting the Golden Globes. We'll see how she does. The BAFTA long lists are this Friday. So it'll be interesting to see. They're like the short list for the Oscars, the BAFTA long list, they call them. And then also, at the end of this week, I get to vote for the Critics' Choice Awards winners, and that show is Sunday, Jan 12, 2 weeks from today, on E! Starting at 7 o'clock, hosted by Chelsea Handler. The voting opens for Critics' Choice members at the end of this week. Your top 5 movies of 2024 at the box office ended up being Inside Out 2, Deadpool and Wolverine, Wicked, Moana 2, and Despicable Me 4. Those are your top 5 movies of the year at the box office, I believe. I was doing the math, figuring that out. And as we close out 2024, those are your movies. You had a Pixar animated sequel. You had a highly anticipated Marvel superhero action movie. You had a musical Broadway adaptation with big names and a big studio and a long run time and people going more than once. You had a Disney animated sequel, and you had a Universal Illumination animated sequel. Disney and Universal dominating this top 5 for the year. Animation with 3 out of the 5. That's really, really good. You had PG-rated movies. You had and an R-rated movie. 4 PGs and an R. Make your top 5. None of them were PG-13. How interesting is that? That's your top 5 for the year. By the way, I watched Ordinary People last night. I could spend about 20 minutes probably dissecting Ordinary People. This is the first time I've ever seen Ordinary People, the 1980 Oscar-winning Best Picture from director Robert Redford with Donald Sutherland, Mary Tyler Moore, happy birthday to the late Mary Tyler Moore today, and Timothy Hutton, who won Best Supporting Actor. Judd Hirsch also nominated, Mary Tyler Moore was nominated. Timothy Hutton, clearly the star of the movie, so the fact that he was in supporting is category crazy. Timothy Hutton's performance is excellent. I like Judd Hirsch. I thought Sutherland and Mary Tyler Moore were good as well. It's an interesting movie because I didn't feel the full impact of the emotion of it till towards the end. There's the final scene that Hutton has with Judd Hirsch, I thought finally got me emotionally. It's a movie that you have to understand came out in 1980 and was the catalyst for all the family drama genres that have come since. All these family dramas, movies, television, everything, these stories, these personal stories of these families. This was the one that started it all. And so I had to try to look at it through a 1980 lens and a 2024 lens. I didn't love every story decision made. I think we could have gotten to some elements and resolutions a little sooner than we do. I thought the pacing was interesting. Spend a lot of time with Hutton, not as much with the parents as I think if you made this movie today, there would have been even more conflict between Moore and Hutton's characters. There's 3 or 4 scenes early where it's kind of rigid, you could tell, and then that camera scene is a lot. But then they're kind of distant the rest of the way. There's a lot with him and the swim team and trying to make other friends and a girlfriend. And so I think if you remade this movie, there would be some other changes. And it didn't shock me completely most of the way through. But I do completely understand that back in 1980, this stunned people. It won Best Picture for a reason. So I like the film. I'm at about 8 out of 10, maybe 8.5 out of 10. But I understand people who love this movie and saw it in 1980 and get it completely. For me, I think a lot of it worked, but not everything about it worked. But that is Ordinary People. I'm catching up on some classics, some oldies over the holidays. I saw 231 new releases this year. New 2024 films. But I got a little time because I saw a lot before the end of the year, and January doesn't have a lot early on. So I'm catching up on some classics. I've done some lately. I'll probably be doing some more. So keep it to my social media. That's X at LCJ Reviews. And Instagram at LightsCamJackson, Facebook, LightsCameraJackson for updates on what other classic movies I screen. Of course, be here on YouTube. Next Sunday, we're going to do Golden Globes predictions live, noon Eastern, Jan 5th, for LCJ Live. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Turn on your notifications. We're live every Sunday with LCJ Live. We've been on YouTube Live since September of 2022, and now here we close out 2024. I've been doing LCJ Live since April of 2018. So keep it to the socials. If you want my best movies of the year list and where you can watch all 25 of my top movies of 2024, the only 25 films I really loved this year, go to lights-camera-jackson.com in the blog section. I will be doing a 2 best, 2 worst films of 2024, 2 Fast, 2 Films podcast episode with Mike Sargent. We'll name our 2 best and our 2 worst movies. And boy, do I have a lot to choose from when it comes to the worst list. Oh my gosh, there were a lot of bad movies this year. So we'll be doing that. That'll be up later this week at 2fast2films.com. Happy New Year to you as well, the Golden Oreos. Thanks for being here. Thanks to everyone for watching LCJ Live. I truly appreciate it. I thank you for being here. It was another great year. It wasn't the greatest year ever for cinema, but there were some highlights for sure. And there were some wonderful films, and more that hopefully you'll get a chance to see soon as September 5 goes wide, and some other films, and more hidden gems that you can check out. Hard Truths goes wide in January. I hope you check that out. And so, cheers to the end of 2024, the start of 2025. Thanks for being here on LCJ Live. Robbie, please check out Hundreds of Beavers. I think you'll love it. Listen, I saw 231 films and I could not get to everything. I have not seen that, but you are not the first person to tell me to watch that. I didn't see Longlegs. I didn't see Alien Romulus. There was something else I didn't see. Another horror movie. Smile 2 I haven't seen, but I've heard good things. And yes, I did see some horror movies. I saw Heretic, I saw Imaginary, I saw Immaculate, and some others. But it's tough, you know? I saw 231, but I couldn't get everything in. Maybe I'll try to sneak Hundreds of Beavers in. We'll have to see. But thanks for being here for LCJ Live. Cheers to the end of 2024, the start of 2025. Happy New Year! I'll see you next time on LCJ Live. Bye-bye.